Good Saturday morning. This is Bill Loveridge with Community Church of Loyalton's Daily Devotion. Today's devotion comes from Ray Stedman Ministries. It's entitled Let and Set. Recommended reading is 1 Timothy 4:11 through 16. I'm going to read you verse 4:12 right now. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for believers in speech and life, in love, in faith, and in purity. Timothy had been given a very difficult task. By this time, he was in his mid-30s, having spent 15 years traveling with the apostle all through the Roman Empire. Back in those days, you were not considered to be over the hill until you got to 40 at least. And that's why Paul tells Timothy, don't let anyone look down on you because you are young. But it was a difficult situation because Timothy had to minister with men who had already been elders of the church in Ephesus for a number of years. The apostle Paul had taught these men himself, and yet Timothy was expected to correct some of the things that were going on in the church. That was a tough assignment for a young man. Timothy had to know how to go about it in a way that would not arouse the ire and opposition of others. There's two things the apostle tells Timothy to do, and both are highlighted by two similarly sounding words, the monosyllables let and set. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers. When Paul says don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, he does not mean, of course, that Timothy is to go around and take issue with anybody who does not like him. He means, rather, that Timothy is to be concerned about and aware of how he comes across to people. He's to be sensitive to how others see him. How then is a young man to proceed? The apostle says by setting a good example in two areas, speech and conduct, and three qualities ought to come through: love, faithfulness, and purity. Those are the things that ought to characterize every young preacher: loving, faithful, pure speech, and loving, faithful, pure behavior. A young preacher must first of all be loving rather than arrogant, rude, censorious, critical, cruel, or sharp in either word or deed. And he must be faithful to his commitments, not totally dying and flattering, using insincere words. He must not be irresponsible, unreliable, or a promise breaker. The third quality is purity. I do not know anything that has destroyed more young ministers than impurity. Ephesus was a city given over to sexual immorality, yet Timothy was expected to maintain a pure standard in the midst of that. There was to be no vulgar, obscene, or profane words in his speech, no dirty stories or double meanings, and no sexual misconduct, including indulging in pornography on the side. A pure life is the platform from which an effective ministry proceeds. Without that, all the words mean nothing. Lord, in both my speech and my conduct, teach me to be loving, faithful, and pure. In your Son's name I pray. Amen. That's a prayer we all can, I think, grasp. Persons who exemplify purity in speech and action, unfortunately, are going to be truly an endangered species, and the need for such is critical. Are we seriously aiming to be this kind of example? I'll be back on Monday with another devotion. Tomorrow at 10:30, Community Church of Loyalton's worship service will be starting up. be streaming it on this YouTube channel as well. Would love to have you join us, and I'll see you Monday. Be blessed.